Welcome back to GMP Scenario, presented by PharmaContentLabs.com.
Okay, picture this. You're right in the middle of a high-stakes quality system audit. I mean, everything is riding on your ability to prove your processes are completely under control. And what's the one area that always gets the most scrutiny? Yep, it's your corrective and preventive actions, your CAPA system. This is where the whole battle is either won or lost. So the auditor's scanning your list of CAPAs. Their finger slowly traces down the page, and then it stops. They look up at you. They've picked one. And the question they ask is so simple, so direct, but your entire system's credibility is hanging on your answer. Are you really ready for what's about to happen? And then the questions start coming. They're fast, they're direct. The first one is always about the action itself. Can you show me, with hard, physical artifacts, that the thing you said you were going to do was actually done? But you know they're not going to stop there, right? It's never enough to just say you did something. The immediate follow-up is always, okay, great, now prove it worked. Where's the data? Where are the results that show your action actually fixed the root cause of the problem? All right, so let's really get into this. This right here, this is the exact moment where so many audits start to completely fall apart. And it all boils down to this fundamental clash between what you've prepared and what an auditor absolutely needs to see. It's the huge difference between telling a good story and presenting cold, hard evidence. You see this all the time. It's this huge gap in communication. You might walk in armed with a really well-rehearsed story about the problem and what your team did to fix it. You give them your verbal assurance. But here's the thing, that's not the language an auditor speaks. They live and breathe traceable evidence, solid artifacts like screenshots and formal, documented approvals. Without that stuff, your story is, well, it's just a story. So, how does this little gap turn into a massive problem? How does it go from being a risk to becoming a formal, documented finding? Well, this is that critical turning point, where a weak defense becomes a major deficiency. And let's be crystal clear. An audit finding is not just some friendly tip for improvement. No way. It's the official, written record that your system has failed. When your CAPA has no direct, traceable link to verifiable proof, it's a breakdown of your entire quality system. And you better believe it's getting written up.
And this is why it matters so much. It's a chain reaction. A single CAPA that you can't defend properly, it calls the credibility of your entire quality system into question. To an inspector, it's a huge red flag that suggests you've lost control. And once they find one little gap, you can bet they're going to escalate their scrutiny and start digging for a whole lot more.
But listen, it does not have to be this way. Not at all. You can build a defense that sees these questions coming a mile away and gives auditors exactly what they're looking for. We can actually boil it all down to a simple but really powerful three-step framework. So here are the three pillars of a totally bulletproof defense. First, you have to proactively build these evidence packages as you go, not after the fact. Second, you have to track the effectiveness with real hard data. And third, you audit yourself, internally, before they ever set foot in the door. That way, you find and fix your own gaps first. Okay, so let's get super practical. What exactly goes into one of these so-called evidence packages? What are the absolute non-negotiables that an auditor is going to expect to see when they ask you for the proof? I want you to think of this as your complete, undeniable binder of proof. And it's not a buffet where you can just pick and choose a few things. Nope, it has to tell the full story. You need the implementation artifacts, the change records, the training proof, all of it. And just as important, it has to end with the effectiveness data, the proof it worked, and that final official sign-off from quality assurance. This is the kind of package that leaves absolutely no room for doubt. Now, here's a tricky one. Even if you know what you need to collect, there is one super common behavior that's like an instant red flag for any experienced auditor. It's a last-minute mistake that immediately tells them your process isn't nearly as good as you're claiming it is.
And there it is. The single most common and worst move you can make is scrambling to pull all this evidence together the night before the audit. Seriously, auditors have like a sixth sense for this. They can just tell when a package has been thrown together in a panic versus being the natural output of a process that was followed correctly from day one.
And this really brings us to the single most important rule of this whole thing. The evidence absolutely must be created at the same time the work is being done. It can't be an afterthought you piece together months later. And trust me, inspectors will always check this. They'll look at the file properties, the metadata, the e-signature dates. Your proof has to exist long before that audit was even scheduled.
So that really leaves us with one final question you have to ask yourself. When you look at your own system with total honesty, have you built a credible, living, breathing defense that actually proves control? Or are you just maintaining a paper trail, really just hoping that no one ever pulls on the thread? Because the next auditor who walks in your door, they're going to find out.
Thank you for watching. If this helped, like and subscribe. More GMP scenarios coming.